There's really nothing I like more than setting an impossible, unnecessary challenge for myself. Because what is life if not chasing your own silly little dreams, whatever those may be? And one of the loftiest goals that I've set for myself in 2025 is to read as many of the books that I own that I have not yet read, and that is a lot. Welcome back to the Book Nook. I'm Valerie Geary. Today I'm talking about my 2025 TBR Takedown Challenge. TBR Takedown Challenge, wherein I try to read as many of my own books as possible. I crunched the numbers, and are you ready for this? I have 130 physical books on my shelf that I have not yet read, and 160 digital books on my Kindle that I have not yet read. That is a whopping total of 290 books that I own and have not yet read. And this year, 2025, is the year that I will be trying my darndest to read as many of those books as possible. Some of these books have been on my shelf for more than 10 years, and I am asking myself why? Why have I not read these yet? And there's plenty of reasons. Good ones, not so good ones. Some of them I bought for some project or another that I didn't really end up finishing. I definitely have found myself checking out way more books at the library than I can really actually read. And so those books get read first, and then the books on my shelf just sit a little longer. New releases catch my attention. I have a really hard time passing up books that are in little free libraries. There's been ebook sales and freebies, and honestly, I don't really mind having books on my shelf that I haven't read. I love books and I love having them around whether I've read them or not. But I've decided that this year I'm going to shift focus away from new releases, away from checking books out at the library, and really try to focus on the books that I have on my shelf. So I will be focusing a lot on my physical TBR shelf, but there are definitely books on my Kindle that I'm looking forward to reading as well. So what exactly is this project going to look like, and what are the rules that I'm setting up for myself? Well, I am trying to keep it as simple as possible. If I keep it simple, the more likely I am to actually successfully complete this challenge. But I do need a few guidelines for myself so that I actually stick with it and don't find myself in the new release section anytime soon. So let's go through the rules of this challenge. Rule number 1 is a simple one. Read from my own book stash, whether physical or digital, as much as possible. Rule number 2 is also pretty straightforward. Unhaul any books that I am not planning on reading that I no longer want to read. It's kind of difficult to unhaul a digital book, but I am also planning on going through that stash and marking it as read or deleting it off my Kindle if I'm no longer interested in reading it. Rules number 3 and 4 are going to be a little bit harder for me, but I'm going to be practicing self-control. So rule number 3, except for the books that I buy for my 2 book clubs that I'm currently a part of, and those books get read every month and so they don't sit on my shelf. So except for those 2 books, I will not be buying any new books for myself in the first quarter of 2025. January, February, March, no new books, except for the ones that I buy for my book club. I'm going to reevaluate this as the year goes on and see if I want to continue this modified book buying ban in 2025, but at least for the first quarter, I am putting a stop on all new book purchases. I can do it. The fourth one is going to be a little bit more of a challenge for me, but it involves the library, and I'm going to give myself a little bit of leeway because I love the library and because it is such a great place to get new books and to check out new authors and new releases. But I am going to be limiting myself to 3 books a quarter, at least for the first quarter. Basically, a new library book every month, 1 new library book every month instead of like the 5 or 6 that I generally check out. This may change as the year goes on, like the book buying ban, but we will see how the first quarter goes. I'm just really going to try and limit the books that are coming in from the outside and really try and focus on reading what is already on my shelves. The 5th and final rule is really for my own sanity. I do not have to finish a book if I am not enjoying it. I can willfully abandon any book that I start if it is not interesting, if I'm not connecting with the characters, if I'm not engaged in it. Just because it's on my shelf doesn't mean I have to finish it. That's it. Those are the 5 rules that I am setting up for myself for this challenge. I do not anticipate that I will be able to get through all 290 books that are on my physical and digital bookshelves. Not this year anyway. That is a reading pace that I cannot sustain, nor do I want to try. The point of this challenge is simply just to focus on reading the books that I own, limit new book purchases, and hopefully discover some new favorites that have just been waiting here for me all these years. It's about having fun and enjoying the reading journey. I am not trying to be anyone's TBR hero. I am going to be participating in some fun bookish challenges to kind of set myself up for success, to kind of revitalize the books that I have been staring at for the past several years. Rather than just like starting on one shelf and working my way through, I am going to be looking at choosing the books through a variety of challenges. Kayla over at Books and Lala has some good challenges that I'm going to be working my way through, and I may search out some other ones as the year goes on. I may set up fun themes and challenges for myself too as the year goes on to just kind of like engage a little bit differently in my bookshelves. But for now, I'm just going to start out fairly simple and just kind of read a book that looks good, read something on my shelf that looks interesting, and we'll see how it goes. I'm going to be taking you along for the ride, or should I call it a hike, because I'm trying to scale Mount TBR here. This is a mountain of a bookish challenge, and I hope that I have brought enough snacks. Leave a comment, let me know if you're participating in any bookish challenges this year, or if you are also going to be trying to read down your physical or digital TBR. How many books do you own that you haven't read? That's really the number that I want to hear. Thank you for watching. I will be back to let you know how it's going in a couple of weeks, and until then, happy reading. I'll see you next time.